22 years ago, my life shattered in Seattle. At 20, I was disowned by my family over a lie. Why did they believe a stranger over me? How did I rebuild from nothing with my aunt in Portland? And what happened when my family came back, begging for forgiveness? This is my story of betrayal, resilience, and the family I chose. Want to know how it all unfolded? Keep watching. I shattered. Just toss it. I need quick advice and won't be using this again. A tale from 22 years ago, condensed to its essence. I've reached 42. In the heart of Seattle, Washington, I navigate life as one of 4 siblings. I have 1 older brother and 2 younger sisters. A few days post my 20th birthday, the daughter of a close family friend leveled a shocking accusation against me during my birthday party. My family chose her over me, leaving me disowned and cast out into the cold. I moved in with my aunt and her family, 8 hours away in Portland, Oregon, forced to rebuild my life from scratch once more. Time rushes ahead. After 22 years, I graduated, found my wife, and built a family with 2 young kids, ages 11 and 8. My aunt and her husband have been my unwavering support through it all. They had faith in me, lifting me up in those fragile early days. Even now, my family still gathers weekly at their home for those cherished family meals. 3 weeks ago, late March, my aunt's voice trembled as she urged me to come over. My father and siblings were there, and they had something urgent to share. Against my will, I felt the pull of my aunt's insistence, eager to uncover their words. As I stepped into Auntie's place, my heart raced. There they were, my family, my siblings, all gathered once more. Time had changed them, yet unmistakably, it was still them. Get straight to the point and lay it all out for you. I demanded to know their desires. My father and siblings rushed to apologize, their voices trembling as they revealed the truth. The accusation was a lie, straight from the source. They wept, pleading for my forgiveness, yearning for a chance to reconnect. I stood up, looked them in the eye, and simply said no before walking away. My older brother pleaded with me to stay, to fight for us. He claimed we were family. Upon hearing his words, I cut through the tension and declared, "No, you're not." Now they feel like mere shadows in my life. My true family was my aunt and her loved ones. Her sons were my brothers. They stood by me as my best man and groomsman on that unforgettable day. I took my aunt's name, a bold step into a new identity. My father shattered at the news. I felt nothing. Surprisingly, I felt nothing. No anger, just emptiness. They meant nothing to me. Now, they are mere shadows in my life. I never inquired about how the truth emerged. I hid my indifference, desperate for them to believe otherwise. I warned them, never reach out to me again. They are ghosts in my life, just as I was in theirs long ago. In that moment, my entire old family shattered, tears streaming down their faces. Their tears were real, yet I remained untouched. I walked away, heart pounding. My aunt has been reaching out, urging me to let go and move on. I insisted there was nothing to forgive. They were mere strangers in my life. She honored my choice. I realize I've omitted many details in the story, but each time I attempt to write it, it spirals into an overwhelming length. Amelia, for refusing to bridge the gap with my family. Update in progress. Hey everyone, I appreciate all your responses. I devoured every word I could find. I need to speak up about what I've seen in the comments. 1. Many believe this account is a fraud, given its recent creation and ordinary username. This is just a throwaway, as I noted before. No account, no interest. This is it for me. I accepted the auto-generated username when I signed up. It felt right. 2. My aunt faces criticism for wanting me to forgive and mend things, especially regarding her bond with my father, her older brother. I must establish boundaries. My aunt is a true treasure, the kindest soul I've ever met. I understand her intentions are pure. I had to stand firm in my choice. She honors my choice. Throughout the years, her bond with my father has remained unbroken. I told her right away, no reconnection, no updates on my life, just silence. She has never failed to honor this request. 3. Some of you doubted their intentions for reaching out. They were desperate for an organ. I can't accept this as the truth. My aunt promised me that no one was dying or sick, and I believed her. 4. Some of you sought justice through the law against my accuser. For years, I replayed it in my mind. Yet, as the days fade into years, I must confess, it barely crosses my mind now. So, I chose not to face my family about it. Her confession comes as a complete surprise. I stayed silent, indifferent to it all. 5. Many of you urged me to cut them all off. Fortunately, that's not something I have to do. Facebook is my only social media connection. Yet I barely engage with it at all. My timeline revealed a haunting truth. My last post was in 2018. No calls, no messages. They don't have my number. At 20, in 2001, I was completely disconnected. No mobile phone, just me and the world around me. No one I knew had a mobile phone. That day, I was thrown out. I trudged to the nearest phone booth, dropped in coins, and called my aunt, desperate to find refuge with her. A taxi to the bus depot, then a long shuttle to Portland. Everything felt urgent and heavy that day. Second tale. A delusional father married his daughter's friend, harboring resentment towards his own child, even wishing she had never existed. He's unraveling, consumed by the pain of not being invited to her wedding. He obliterated his one shot at redemption, the lifeline his daughter offered after her grandparents' torment, all while lost in the throes of passion with his wife's friend. I'm diving into Reddit for the first time. I'm bracing for the sting of judgment. I desperately seek guidance to mend the bond with my only daughter. I know I ruined our relationship. I need to say it. I need you to hear it. 3 years have passed. I can't understand why she won't return. Her absence is a deep ache. She is my everything, my sole light in this world. When I married my current wife 21 years ago, it ignited a storm of backlash from friends, community, family, my ex, and my daughter. Yet, I was bound to marry her. She's everything to me. She captivates with her beauty, dazzles with her intelligence, and warms hearts with her kindness. I sensed my daughter would struggle with my marriage. I never anticipated the depths of her cruelty. She pleaded for me to end this marriage. She begged my wife to walk away from me. I can't shake the feeling of disappointment in myself. I wished she had never been born, resented her deeply, and told her she meant nothing to me. My relationship with my daughter has always been tumultuous. Her disapproval of my marriage cut deep. At least we would share words, a connection of sorts. Since that moment, silence has consumed us. I miss her, and it hurts. I checked social media to see how she was holding up. She's taken. I am her dad. I discovered my daughter's engagement on social media. In that moment, the weight of my error crashed down on me. I can't bear to lose another moment of her journey. I reached out to her on social media. She cut me off. I need to contact her once more. I need her back in my life. I crave guidance. Revise. I'll update this post to clarify and address your questions. I met my wife as an adult, never when she was a minor. That would have been utterly revolting. If only I had, my view of her would have changed completely. Our relationship was bound by the law, yet it felt so much more. Consent was unmistakably present. Our paths crossed when she was just 19. 8 months of love, then forever began. She was a quiet storm, hidden beneath layers of shyness. We chose to elope. No more children are in my plans for now. My wife and daughter shared a bond, not a rivalry. Just friends, or so they thought. She began to visit, and an undeniable bond formed between us. Her doubt lingered from the start. I love her deeply. She feels it too, I can tell. My wife is a strong, independent woman. She has grown beyond that. Your perception of her as a child is deeply troubling and painful for her. She has the power to choose, and she chose me. What keeps her by my side after all this time? Embrace the fallout of your choices. It's the only way forward. Your actions define your fate. If I were your daughter, I'd sever ties too, especially now with the engagement looming. Let her be. Someone worthy will surely step up to guide her down the aisle. You have no idea how repulsive and terrible you truly are. I feel for the young woman you manipulated, and I hope she sees the truth soon. Can you picture the humiliation of her twisted father appearing with his child bride? Ugh. Shift the spotlight away from the couple on their special day. Can you even imagine the gut-wrenching horror of seeing your parents with someone who's just as young as you? How did you find the love of your life so young and captivating? Why do I have a feeling it was your daughter who did this? You tied the knot 3 years back. How old was she when your relationship began? Your words cut deep, revealing that your wife was your sole focus, while your daughter was nothing more than a burden in your eyes. I'm not sure if anything can mend that bond. Your wife entered your life as your daughter's friend. A simple visit that changed everything. You married her at 19. Call her an adult if you must. It's obvious you were watching your daughter's friend, marrying her the moment she turned legal. Ugh. Wishing someone had never existed is a haunting thought, one that leaves an indelible mark on the soul. That's a fierce destruction, leaving nothing but ashes in its wake. Do you really believe time can mend the pain, that she will simply move on? No apologies, no effort from you. No, that's not how it goes. Your indifference to 3 years without her speaks volumes. Now that you see what you've lost, you crave her return. Where was it when she faced 18-21 years alone, without a father? New information. 3 weeks later. I braced myself for the storm when I shared my struggles with my daughter. I never saw the death threats coming, nor the vile accusations of being a pedophile. I met my wife when she was just 19, stepping into adulthood. I feel nothing in the face of their death threats. It reveals the depths of immaturity in some individuals. I finally met with my daughter, and I just need to share this weight that's been pressing on me. A message from my daughter arrived. She unblocked me, her message sharp and electrifying. She wanted to meet, and my heart raced with hope. Perhaps she finally understood the void her father left behind. Her words stung. My parents had pushed her to reach out, and that cut deep. I believed she sought to meet and mend things on her own accord. Yet, despite the weight of my parents' expectations, joy still found me. This was my moment to fix everything. That day, when we were meant to come together, I faltered profoundly. Time slipped away from me. I was lost in a moment with my wife. Her cuteness was irresistible, and soon everything changed. By the time I recalled, it was already 30 minutes past our meeting at the park. The gaze from my daughter haunts me still. She appeared indifferent, as if she had anticipated this all along. I did my best to make myself understood. I left it unclear, just saying time slipped away from me. She refused to budge. I fought desperately to reach her, to convey my deep regret. She coldly demanded I keep my parents away from her. She said I was no longer her father, that forgiveness was beyond her reach for all I had done. She warned me, if I or my parents ever troubled her again, she would cut off all ties with my family forever. Anger bubbled within me, though my parents were blameless. Yet I remained silent. She twisted the knife deeper, revealing I wasn't invited to her wedding, and her uncle would take my place at her side. I felt shattered. I yearned for us to find a way. I needed to fix this, no matter the cost. I fought to reach her, but the distance felt insurmountable. Then her fiancé appeared. They were gone, just like that. Words escaped me entirely. She left me in the dark, not even a word about the boy. I feel like it's the end. My parents won't stop calling, accusing me of ruining everything and shaming them. Yet, my wife remains by my side. I'm utterly isolated. With her, my life feels whole. She is my everything. Exactly what you expressed. She is everything. In losing track of time, on the one day your daughter chose to reach out, you showed her that she has never been your priority. This is your doing. This feels unreal. Your other post reveals a choice. You abandoned your wife and family to pursue a fleeting connection with your daughter's high school friend. You married a 19-year-old after just 8 months together. You were just 41. You looked at your daughter and whispered the words that shattered everything. You wished she had never been born. She severed the connection. Is that correct? You discover through social media that your daughter is getting married, and it hits you hard. You have children beyond your wife, and the weight of being a terrible father crushes you. You enlist your parents to push your daughter into seeing you. You're an hour late because you were with your wife. Now you're lamenting your solitude. That's the fate of those consumed by their own selfishness, like you. From now on, let your daughter be. You've given all you can. She means nothing to you, doesn't she? I genuinely wish for life to grant you all that you truly deserve. Not him again. I eagerly anticipate his heart-wrenching post about his young wife abandoning him for someone her own age. A new voice joins the conversation. I can hardly contain my anticipation for the moment he starts to smell like an old man, and she walks away from him. I wish she extracts every ounce of him. You must be a troll, ruining your shot at reconnecting with your daughter because you couldn't resist the allure of your stunning wife, who is just as young as your child. Sure, whatever. Did you ever resolve if your wife was connected to your daughter? Perhaps for the intensity. Did your daughter's former friend, now your wife, seduce you to sabotage the meeting with your daughter? Could a fake death lead to the emergence of identical twins? Don't miss out next week. A response emerges. He encountered his wife for the first time when she visited his home with his daughter. In high school, the two girls shared a world of secrets and dreams. Final tale. I entered counseling with my wife, witnessing her neglect our son while showering our daughter with attention as a form of punishment. It all spiraled from a simple compliment about his cooking. She saw it as freedom to betray and escape reality, but an overdose led to her downfall. I had to let her go. Now she pleads for forgiveness, claiming I've taken her children away. My wife, the heart of our home, has always cooked with passion. As an Italian, her love for food is one of the reasons I fell deeply for her. I've tried to lend a hand in the kitchen, even offered to cook for her, but she always declines, gently yet firmly. I can't fault her. I didn't inherit any cooking talent from my parents. I've always made it a point to thank her for every meal, and I've instilled that in my children too. For the past year, my son has immersed himself in cooking videos on YouTube and TikTok, igniting a fierce desire to cook. My wife eagerly teaches him. Twice a week, they venture to the store, gather ingredients for a TikTok recipe, and return home to create something special together. Watching them connect has been incredible, especially given their past lack of shared interests. About a month ago, after dinner, my son turned to his mom, eyes bright with determination, and asked if he could prepare a meal for us all by himself. I suggested it was a brilliant idea, and after a moment of hesitation, she finally relented. That Saturday, she led him to the store for his ingredients, and then he dove into his work. She watched over everything, yet he firmly believed she was unnecessary. She finally entered the living room, joining my daughter and me, her expression heavy with sadness. I promised her he would still want to cook with her. He yearned to experience it alone. It offered a glimmer of relief, yet she remained distant, something still amiss. As we gathered to eat, I was struck by how impressively he had handled everything alone. It pains me to admit it, but after a year of cooking alongside his mother, I thought he would falter more often than he did. I aimed to nurture his passion, praising him as I ate, while softly addressing the minor errors he had made. I indulged far more than I ever had with my wife's cooking, and now I realize that was the spark that ignited everything. His sister, just a little sibling, harshly mocked his cooking while I stood by, offering my unwavering support. I opened my mouth to reprimand her, to remind her of gratitude for his meal, but then my wife sighed, pushed her plate aside, and echoed the sentiment. Too salty? Too overdone. I was stunned, and I could see my son felt it deeply. His spirit sank. I stayed silent, as my wife and I never fight in front of the kids. I continued to praise my son's cooking while she nibbled at her plate, eventually taking both hers and our daughter's dishes to the kitchen. Not long after, I found my son in tears. I wrapped him in my arms, whispering that his mother surely loved the meal, that today was just a rough one for her. I urged him not to take it to heart. Later, when the kids were asleep, I confronted her. She tried to dismiss it, but I pressed on. Anger flared as she accused me of praising his cooking more than hers. I was blindsided. I never thought my wife would feel jealousy towards our son. My reaction was instinctive. A scoff escaped me. Her anger erupted when I laughed, igniting a fierce argument. I fought to explain my praise was meant to uplift him, and slowly she softened, acknowledging her harshness. She promised to apologize, and I thought all was resolved. That Monday, as I drove my son to school, I sensed something was off. He stared out the window, his face turned away, hiding a storm within. I asked him what was wrong. He said he was fine, but I saw the struggle in his eyes. I pressed him again, and he shattered, revealing that after I left to start the car, she had said she would be cooking alone from now on. Fury bubbled inside me, yet I held my composure, promising to confront her about it. I grabbed him a snack from the store, then watched him walk into school. I rushed home, eager to speak with my wife before the kids arrived. I faltered, and it spiraled into a heated clash. I accused her of being petty, targeting our son in her anger. She dismissed him as a baby, insisting he shouldn't be upset about not cooking, claiming it wasn't a man's role. The weight of it all hung heavy in the air. We separated to cool off. When the kids returned, my wife took our daughter out, returning later with an armful of toys and clothes. I saw her plan unfold, and that night I made it clear. I wouldn't allow her to weaponize my earnings against my son. She shattered at the news, and once more, we clashed in fury. I lay in the guest room, and now I'm wide awake. For a month now, my wife has relentlessly showered our daughter with gifts and attention, leaving my son in the shadows. I've discussed this with my parents and brother. They acknowledge she's wrong, yet they downplay the issue, believing it will resolve on its own. Her treatment of our son is pushing me away, yet I hesitate to leap into divorce without exploring every possible way to mend this situation. This fight is unlike anything we've ever faced. We argue sometimes, but she's always been kind to my son. I'm weighed down by guilt, striving to make it up to my son with every chance I get. I refuse to replicate my wife's actions, so I take my daughter along with us half the time we venture out. Every time we interact, she's cruel, flaunting her mother's efforts, knowing it cuts deep for her brother. Watching my wife with our son has shaken my faith in our marriage. I can't bear the thought of rushing into divorce. I'd really value any tips on how to approach the topic of therapy. Ancient bicycles need urgent counseling. Act now. Your child is suffering at the hands of your wife. This is a grave matter. I can take your son away from your home to keep him safe while you get the help you need. OP. If I had any hint that she was hurting him, I would act immediately to get him out and find him a safe place. I thought about asking a family friend for help, but with school in session, I want him close to home. I'm terrified that if I send him away, he'll think I'm choosing his mom over him, abandoning him for her benefit. I've confronted him, and he admits she simply overlooks him. She still invites him for dinner, folding his clothes with care. I asked our daughter if she's seen anything, and her answer was the same. I forgot to include that in the post. Yet in the last few days, she's begun to realize the truth of her mother's actions. I was in my son's room, lost in our game, when she entered, tears streaming down her face, and whispered an apology to him. I'm here for him, fully committed. If anything changes, I need to know. I want to help. Your advice means a lot to me. Thank you for the unwavering support, even when the comments turned harsh. It means a lot. The pushback opened my eyes to a harsh reality I'd been blind to. Kindness would go a long way, yet your advice still means a lot. For a year, my wife and son shared the kitchen, crafting dinner together, night after night. My son decided to cook dinner alone, and my wife agreed. But then, he began to act strangely. She harshly tore apart his meal. The following day, she declared she would handle the cooking alone from that moment forward. After I confronted her, she turned cold towards him, neglecting and emotionally abusing him, all while showering our daughter with false positivity. Immediately after my last post, I took my son to my parents' house, eager for him to share the truth himself. I hoped they would finally see the anguish their grandson endured, unlike how they dismissed my own suffering. They stood by me, fully grasping my decision to ask my wife to leave until she confronted her struggles. I sought the counsel of a lawyer. He advised me to prepare the papers, even if I wasn't certain about the divorce. It's better to act swiftly if I choose that path. In the United States, the options are limited: a year of separation, or proof of abuse or adultery. Last Saturday, I brought my mother home after visiting my folks with the kids. I allowed her to speak with my wife first. Once they finished, I told her she had to leave the house until she figured out what was driving her behavior toward our son. To my astonishment, she said yes. Perhaps my mother's words finally reached her, their bond too strong to ignore. I offered her a choice: stay with my parents, who were ready to welcome her, or find a room at a nearby motel. Her parents were too far away to help. I insisted she see a therapist weekly, making it clear that it was essential for healing our relationship. We sent the kids to my parents for the night, then packed her things and moved her out the next day. We gathered the kids, our hearts heavy, and shared the truth with them. Our son grasped it, but our daughter was devastated. In the end, we managed to soothe her. For the first month, everything seemed perfect. She attended every weekly appointment, and I joined her for dinner a few times a week with the kids. It felt like she was finally treating our son right again. I held on to hope, believing she was finally moving forward. On Friday, after her 5th therapy session, she unleashed a barrage of messages, calling me an arsehole, accusing me of trying to take her children, and suggesting I was probably cheating on her. I called her, desperate for answers, but it felt like she had vanished. Her phone silent, just like my heart. I called my mother. She said my wife had left that day, taking everything, without a word to her. Confusion swirls around me. My wife clams up, guarding secrets, while her friends remain unreachable. What unfolded in those moments? I'm left in the dark. All I can gather is that she confided in her best friend, who then spun a tale of me trying to evict her and take her children. She moved in with her friend, diving headfirst into a wild week of clubbing, drinking, and drugs. In our youth, we shared countless reckless moments that still haunt me. Though unexpected, it was probably her foolish friends urging her to revisit the past. Silence stretched for a week, heavy and suffocating. A text from her friend shattered me. I was a loser, my wife deserved better, and she was with someone younger. I pleaded for her to hand over the phone to my wife, desperate for a connection, but silence was all I received. I captured the message, just in case I needed proof. A call from the hospital pierced the silence at 3 a.m. that Sunday. My wife lay unconscious, a victim of an overdose, abandoned at the ER by a stranger who vanished into the night. They contacted me because I was her emergency contact. I called my mom to watch the kids and rushed over. They fought to stabilize her, pouring every ounce of care into her treatment. I lingered for hours, watching her drift in and out of awareness. When she was present, her words were scarce, heavy, with unspoken weight. As consciousness returned, her heart raced with regret, and she began to apologize for it all. That's when I uncovered the scant details I had about her friend and the bender. I confronted her about the rumors, and her silence spoke volumes. She begged for forgiveness, but I held my ground, insisting this wasn't the moment for such things. We finally departed around 8 a.m. the following day. I brought her to my parents' house, tucked her into bed, and just before I walked out, I placed the papers on the table next to her. I told her I expected her signature within a week and that I had evidence of her betrayal during her bender. I warned my parents ahead of time, letting them know my plans so they wouldn't be blindsided by the unfolding drama. The kids are okay, blissfully unaware of their mother's fate or the divorce's shadow. They only know my wife is leaving, focused on healing, and that her presence will be scarce. I'll wait a couple of weeks, until school's out for summer, to share the news. I don't want to disrupt their learning. In the weeks that followed, her calls flooded in. Pleas for another chance. Then furious outbursts of hatred, each day a new emotional battleground. I've been bombarded with hateful texts from her family and friends, hurling insults and threats. They warn that if I don't back down from the divorce, I'll deeply regret it. Every message is saved. My parents think divorce is the right choice, yet they doubt my timing, wondering if I should have waited until she was out of the hospital. I'm done. She's out. I'm fighting for full custody. My kids deserve better than this. No way they'll be around her if this is how low she'll go. Though I crave urgency, doubt gnaws at me. Should I reclaim the papers and confess my change of heart, waiting for her to find her footing? Penelope. Comments urged me to take my kids to therapy to help them understand. I have a therapy session scheduled for next week, and I'm holding on just a little longer for their school to wrap up completely. I overlooked it when I first wrote everything down. Thanks for watching this story on Addy's Story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new tale. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, take care and keep living your own amazing stories.